guys! I have just finished my 31 days of Inktober, so today I'm very excited to share all of them with you, and I'm going to talk about the ideas behind each piece. This is actually my first time doing Inktober, and I think I have learned a lot during the process. It has been quite an adventure because I hardly ever use ink for my works. I paint mostly watercolor, and I haven't really tried anything other than watercolor, to be honest. And it has been really fun for me to try out new ideas and how to do a work much faster and more illustrative. So yeah, I had a lot of fun, and I hope you enjoy this video as well. A little background on Inktober. It is challenge started by illustrator Jake Parker maybe a decade ago. So the idea is to do a piece every day, and there is this official prompt from their website. So every day there will be a word, and you just do like any work based on the concept. So yeah, I'm really glad that I decided to do it this year, and let's get started. So the first day's prompt was Swift. I don't know about you guys, but the first thing came to my mind was a programming language that Apple uses. It's called Swift. So I drew an iPhone with my Instagram page, and at the background I just did some coding in the Swift code. It's a little bit nerdy, I know. Then the second day was divided. And my idea is that sometimes the whole world will tell you to go one direction, but your heart wants to go the other way. And you should always follow your heart. And the third day is poison. So what I did is that there will always be people judging you, and a lot of times they are just saying nonsense. They are not judging you out of a goodwill, and you should just ignore what they say. I've learned one thing over the past years is that people's judgment really mean nothing to me, and I couldn't care less about what they say. Don't let them get into your head. That's just gonna be poison to you. On the fourth day, it was underwater, and I just did something simple. Crystals and cactus are always what I like, and I just did something underwater. Yeah, it was quite simple and straightforward. And the fifth day was long, so I did a cat playing with a ball of yarn, and yeah, he just stretched it out, and it's just long and across the page. On the sixth day, the word a sword. The saying, "My love is my sword," came to my mind, and I just did this man climb up the moon because I love you to the moon and back, right? So yeah, for this one, I tried to do like a darker background with the moon and stars shining. I guess it didn't really turn out that nice, but I still quite like this piece, and I think maybe I use this concept for another of my more serious works. And the next day is shy. So I painted myself. When I was little, I always stayed at home and played with myself. I never had the urge to go out and play with others. My parents will always force me to go out. And until this day, I'm still a loner, and I really enjoy my time alone. So yeah, sometimes people call me shy, but I guess I just really enjoy my time alone. And the next day is crooked. So I did this crooked house. I guess I've seen like architecture that's similar to this on the internet. So I just did this, and I don't know, I'd rather be crooked and fun than boring. Nobody should ever tell you how you should look like, and I guess it's fun to be crooked. And the next day is scratch. Honestly, I think I never scratched in my life. I'm the very calm kind of person, and I've never even shouted, I guess. But I guess one thing that would probably make an artist scratch is spilled ink over a finished piece. So I just did some lettering on this piece and I spilled some ink over it. And the next day is gigantic. So I did a giant carrot with a small rabbit on it. I quite like this piece because I was traveling in the beginning of October, so I actually started a bit late, and this was in fact my very first piece of Inktober. And I really like it. I did like a lot of patterns on the background and it was so fun. And the next day is Run. This one was inspired by those kind of traditional Japanese painting. They do a lot of waves in like a block print kind of style. So I did some waves and people say waves are running rabbits. So my little fox is just chasing all the rabbits. And the next day is Shattered. So I just did a shattered vase. The light leaks from inside and there are like some shattered pieces. And because the background was too plain, so I added a little bit of patterns on it. And from this point, I was like really into patterns, and that's why I did like a lot of patterns on the backgrounds during my Inktober. And I think that's one thing I might add to my watercolor pieces from now on. The next day is theming, so I just did a lot of plants. And I did them first and used a black brush pen to go over the edges really carefully. This one took the longest time, I believe. For most of my Inktober pieces, I spent about 5, 10, maybe 15 minutes maximum. But this one took almost half an hour because it was so troublesome to go around the edges. And the 14th day, Fierce. So I did a fierce tiger rolling. So the tiger was actually this part. And for the bottom, I tried to do a pattern that represents fire. I guess people can't really tell, like I wanted to indicate fire at the background, but it still kind of looks cool. It's one of my favorite pieces during the month. And the next day was Mysterious. So I did this Aladdin's lamp. And this was one of my fantasies when I was a kid. I always wondered if one day I found the lamp, what should I ask for? Here's a question mark and goes in circles. I'm quite happy with how this turned out as well. And the next day was Fat. And I really had no inspiration that day. It was a 3 minutes work. I just did a very fat giraffe trying to lose some weight, so it's jumping ropes. And the next day is Graceful. And so I did some trees. Trees are like one of my favorite things about this world. I could just stare at them for hours and hours. I don't know, they just look so graceful to me. They just look so beautiful. And the next day is Filthy. I was watching Narcos at the time, so I immediately thought about money laundering. It's supposed to be like a pool of water at the bottom. Monies are just falling into it. And the next day is Cloud. So I did another background with patterns on it. So it's a wallpaper and there's a window and you can see the clouds out of the window. At the beginning, I wanted to do like some realistic clouds, but I thought it's just kind of boring. So I did this one and I really like it. And the next day is Deep. So I thought about deeply in love and I did a heart with like red ribbons going around it, and the heart looked too empty to me, so I filled it up with random patterns. And the next day is Furious. I really had no idea what to paint. I guess this piece, you can't really tell like what's the topic of it. The painting process was fast and furious for me. I just did like random lines first, and I used like black and grays. It's It's a random drawing that doesn't really mean anything, but I think it looks kind of cool. And the 22nd day trail. So I was thinking that a lot of times we are inside the box and we are supposed to follow a certain trail, like a certain path for your life. But nah, don't follow like the path that people have set up for you. You should just create your own trail and like live your life. And there are so many possibilities, and yeah, just live your life. The next day is juicy. And I painted a tube of paint because what's more juicy to an artist than freshly squeezed paint? I planned to have a white background, but then I added these polka dots to it. I really like how this turned out. It looks so cool. And the next day is blind. So this was another super fast piece. I spent like 2 minutes on it. So here are two people blindly in love, and they just work together because love conquers all. And next day is ship. So I have a little paper origami ship in a tub. I tried to make it like more of a 3D effect, but I guess kind of failed at this one, but I still quite like it because when I was little, I loved origami, and this brings back so many good childhood memories to me. And the next day is Squid. And I did a squid. It's kind of funny. I wasn't going for the pun, but I can't really think about anything squeaking, but I thought if a squid could squeak, that's how it does it. This was just one of those fun pieces. I didn't really plan much, but I like it. It's funny and quick. And the next day is climb. And yeah, this is one of my favorite pieces. I really wanted to go for that geometric and pattern design kind of feeling. So I did these gigantic steps and little man's climbing on it because I hate stairs. When I see the word climb, I immediately thought of stairs, and that's like one of my biggest enemy. And the 28th fall. Initially, I wanted to do autumn leaves falling, but then I thought about shooting stars. So I tried something really new for this one. I painted the whole background yellow. Then I used a black pen to go over it, all in the same direction. So it kind of mimics that shooting star kind of effect. And we're almost done. The next day is United. And I painted a bunch of trees in the darkness, and there's like a storm coming. This might be a little bit difficult for you to understand why I paint trees for United. It's actually a really interesting fact in Chinese. I'm going to put an insert here, and you can see, because in Chinese, we write a tree like this, and this is woods, and this is forest. So like in Chinese culture, we have a bunch of trees. It kind of represents the concept of united and how they fight against the storms or something. And the next day is font. And I drew this neon pink piece. Everyone else is gray, but you can just be your sparkling neon unique self. And there will always be a spot for you in the world. So you don't really need to change yourself. You just need to find your spot. And the very last day is mask. And it was Halloween. So I did this super skinny man with a gigantic pumpkin mask as his head, and I had some bats flying around. I don't know, it just came to me on that day, and I thought it turned out quite fun. So yeah, that's my 30 days of Inktober. So that's everything I did for Inktober. And I really learned a lot during the process. I know it's kind of weird to say that sometimes I think I limit myself for what I can do, because I've always been painting watercolor since I started doing art, and I never thought about trying any other media because I think I'm not good enough in watercolor yet, and it's kind of too soon to jump into another media right away. But I think doing this challenge really opened up a new world to me, and now I have an idea of how I can do art in a different style, and I'm not limited to just doing watercolors or doing landscapes, and I should try more subjects that's not familiar to me, because like when I do art for myself, most of the time I jump right back into what I know or what I love. I like to do landscapes, like underwater scenes and galaxies. Of course I enjoy doing that, but how would I know if I love something else if I've never tried that, right? So because for Inktober there's a prompt every day, like it kind of forced me to break my boundaries and to try some new subjects. And because I'm doing it really, really fast, I spend on average maybe 10 or 15 minutes on a piece. They're not finished piece in any way, so I'm kind of more relaxed when I do it, and it just frees up my style, I guess. So yeah, a lot of the pieces are not my usual style, but I end up loving them. So one thing I'm definitely going to try is that, I guess from this month onward, apart from my usual watercolor works, I think I'm going to try some new medias. I've always wanted to try acrylics and colored pencils, because there are some artists that I follow on Instagram. They do really, really awesome works with colored pencils. And I think like it's insane how they can use colored pencils to achieve amazing results, and I really want to try it as well. So yeah, I think for the next 2 months of the year, my goal is to try out not as many, like to try out some new medias that I've never tried before and see whether I like them. So yeah, I guess that's everything for today. Please give me a thumbs up and please subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.